A source is telling Fox News now that the White House is confident that Judge Kavanaugh has the votes to be confirmed to the high court. Fox top story with the big interviews. First, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. Sarah, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me on, Harris. Always great to see you.
Likewise. Let's start with the big news that you think at the White House that you have the votes. Why?
Look, we feel great about where we are right now. Obviously, we would love to see all 100 senators get behind and support Judge Kavanaugh, but we think that the vote that took place this morning was certainly a step in the right direction, and we look forward to seeing him confirmed later this weekend.
You know, we're waiting for some more news to break. We have heard already from Senator Jeff Flake that he is a yes and unless something big were to change. He can't imagine what that would be. Susan Collins, another Republican kind of on the fence in all of this, is supposed to let us know, the world, the nation, how she will vote at 3 o'clock. What is the president doing on this Friday as this news is trickling in?
The president is obviously aware of everything that's taking place, but at the same time, this is a president who likes to do a lot of things at one time. He's going to be signing pieces of legislation later today, continuing meetings with staff. But we're watching this very closely, and certainly those of us at the White House will be tuned in to hear Senator Collins' speech later this afternoon. We think her vote earlier this morning was a great thing, and we certainly hope that she will follow suit of what she did this morning and do that again in the final vote for Judge Kavanaugh. Yeah, it's interesting. Historically, a vote for cloture is sometimes an indication of how an individual will vote moving forward. After what we've seen with Senator Jeff Flake recently in the last few days, we can't really determine that by history so much anymore. What is the strategy of the White House now? Reports that the president and White House staff have been on the phone with certain senators. Who are you talking with? We're going to continue. We've been in constant contact with a number of senators since this process began, and we're going to continue those efforts right up until the last minute because this is such an important moment in our country's history, and we want to make sure we're doing every single thing we can to get the final vote done and get Judge Kavanaugh confirmed, and we hope to see that happen this weekend. You know, the timing of it, too, is when many Americans will be able to maybe pause on a weekend and take a look at history being made up or down on Judge Kavanaugh. So the timing of it is interesting. I want to talk about, though, just your impression, because you started out with, wouldn't it be great if you got everybody? And there was a day when you get 90% of the senators, you know, to put their politics aside, and you see Dems and Republicans together. Are you surprised that Joe Manchin was a yes to move the nomination process forward, a Democrat, West Virginia? Frankly, I'm surprised more Democrats aren't supporting Judge Kavanaugh. We've seen from the very beginning the impeccable qualifications that he has. And you're very right in saying that this isn't supposed to be a partisan battle. This isn't supposed to be a political battle. This is supposed to be a determination on whether or not somebody has the right temperament, the right qualifications to sit on the Supreme Court. And we've seen every bit of the things that you should see in a Supreme Court justice in Brett Kavanaugh. And it's a shame that it has become a political battle, and it's no longer about the Supreme Court, but it's about partisan politics. We've seen the Democrats play just a completely different game than has ever been done before, and that's a real disgrace to the country. It's a disgrace to the process, but hopefully maybe some of them will change their mind and get on board and do the right thing and be part of this process moving forward over the weekend and be part of the group that helps confirm Judge Kavanaugh. Now, I want to talk about also kind of what was a surprise in terms of the process, and that's to see an opinion piece by the nominee on the eve of a cloture vote, Judge Kavanaugh. What does the White House think about this so-called closing argument and whether it was needed? Look, Judge Kavanaugh has been transparent throughout the beginning of the process. He's put forward more documentation, more paper, more hours of testimony than any other nominee in history. This is another moment of him saying, look, I'm an open book. I've been transparent from the beginning of this entire process. I'm going to continue to be that way. And you can expect that same type of mentality and temperament when I sit on the court. You know, there seemed to be a shift in Democrats' criticism of the judge going from the allegations of misconduct against him to how emotional he got. And in the op-ed last night, Kavanaugh said, I was very emotional last Thursday, more than I have ever been. I might have been too emotional at times. I know that my tone was sharp and I said a few things I should not have said. Is that helpful? For me, I think that in a moment where if you feel you're being wrongfully accused, you're defending not just yourself, but your family, your family's name, and frankly, the entire process that allows somebody to become a Supreme Court justice, you have every right to be emotional, every right to be tough, every right to fight back and defend yourself against those accusations. I thought his tone in last week's hearing was exactly what you would expect from somebody going through what Brett Kavanaugh and his family have been through over the last several weeks. And I think that he's going to make a great Supreme Court justice when we see his confirmation go through later this weekend.
We are learning sometime between 3:30 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, with the nation and the world watching. We will see a vote on Judge Kavanaugh. I want to give you last word on what this means in terms of the president's building a legacy.
I think this will be one of the most impactful things he does. The president has had an incredibly successful first 2 years in office. The economy's booming. He's making trade deals that people said were never going to be possible. He is securing the border. He is doing one thing after the next that he promised to do on the campaign. And what you're going to see take place this weekend is another fulfillment of the president's promise to the American people that he made. And I hope we'll also see that reflected in people wanting to continue that progress when they vote in November.
I'm looking at that 49-year low, 3.7% of unemployment. And what you said, Sarah Sanders, about bringing the country together after this is all over, that's where we all hope that we can get, no matter how people feel about the situation with Judge Kavanaugh. Sarah Sanders, White House press secretary, on the program today. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.